Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to the full 90. So as you guys know from the last stream, I had a few of us on, and we were discussing the channel rebrand. You'll see slowly, the channel rebranding over to away from FPL stuff and more of a general football channel. And I'll be having guests on to discuss mainly the big six teams, but we also do stuff outside the big six. So obviously, Fahid from the previous stream, he's an Arsenal fan. We plan to do more different type of streams, different type of content this summer. So make sure you stay tuned, as there's a lot of plans to come with the channel. Um, but yeah, let's kick it off with discuss transfers. I think mainly at the forefront. Where should we start, Fahid? Speak about Sesko news broke today. It seems like he's picked Man United. You could speak about Nunez. Quite a few big strikers on the move and potentially on the move.
Yeah, today's quite a weird day. Everything's kicked off all at once. There's loads of random stuff that's moved as well. We see Grealish to Everton. That was floating around today as well. I think
Mhm.
Sesko's probably the biggest news today.
Yep.
That or Nunez, either or. I think Sesko's a very good fit for United. I think they need. Obviously, it's a little bit weird. United's first choice was probably before the summer. United's first choice was probably Gyökeres, and Arsenal's first choice was probably Sesko. And then it
Mhm.
looks like it's gone the other way around. We've took each other's best target. I think United are looking. They're making some serious moves now. I think they were getting a lot of heat earlier in the window for how slow they were moving. I mean, the time it took to get Mbeumo over the line, but now they're really picking up some pace.
Yeah, let's start off with Sesko. Obviously, if you guys haven't seen the developments, I think it started sort of on Saturday night. Newcastle put in a bid of 80 million euro package. I think it was, I want to say seven. No, sorry, I think it was 90 million package. 80 million fixed, and then 10 million add-ons. Saturday evening, and the rumors were, Newcastle are confident that they could strike personal terms with Sesko. But then, was it obviously last night? I think I heard of Man United's interest. They're coming in with a bid. Man United's bid is actually 5 million euros less than Newcastle's. I think the package is 85 million euros. So Newcastle, from what I hear from listening to Craig Hope and the tier ones at Newcastle, they've always been wary of this Sesko. His preference is actually Man United. He's never wanted to really join Newcastle. From what we hear, Man United has been his first choice. What do you make of, first of all, the Newcastle missing out on yet another target? So they missed out on Mbermo, João Pedro, Ekitike. They missed out on a few now. Um, how do you see, does that affect Newcastle? And are you surprised Newcastle have the Champions League football? They won a first trophy after 70 years, and they seem to be missing out on their top targets.
I wouldn't say I'm completely surprised. I didn't think it would be this obvious, this bad in terms of how many rejections they're getting, and also their players also getting picked apart in terms of Isak. Um, I think then no matter if they have Champions League football, no matter if they've won a trophy, they're still not considered one of the more prestigious clubs. They're still not. I don't know if the Big Six will ever change, but they're not a part of the Big Six. They don't have that brand across outside of the UK. So I don't see why there would be like a divine right where Newcastle should be entitled to these players. I mean, some of them I'm a little bit shocked by. I mean, like even James Trafford going to City instead of Newcastle. A few of these I thought maybe they were Newcastle a little bit unlucky there, but I don't. I'm not massively surprised, and I think if it was Brighton or Palace, another club similar, getting rejected like this, no one would really bat an eyelid. But Newcastle seems to have this persona that they're a bigger club than they probably actually are, which might be a little bit harsh. But I know they've got a big fan base, but I don't know, having a couple good seasons, what really warrants them to have all these players.
Yeah, I mean, the whole Newcastle topic is we could be here sort of all day. What's happened at the club? I think obviously Amanda Stavely and the other guy, I forgot his name. They've left the club. Then Eddie House, technically the sporting director, so bit of a power vacuum there. So yeah, but that's a big blow, I think, for Newcastle missing out on Sesko, and obviously it's the dominoes, which I've been saying for months. For Liverpool to get Isak, this all links into the Sesko deal, which links into Nunez. Diaz is another piece in the domino for Liverpool to line up. I think Liverpool have lined this up very nicely, getting rid of Diaz and Nunez with Isak coming in. But Newcastle, that does rely on Newcastle to get Sesko, and we'll come on to that in a second. But in terms of Sesko, the player, I just want to touch on it, what it means for him to go in Man United, what it means as one of the big striker coming into the league, big money. We know the weight of the shirt at Man United is heavy. We've seen players like Højlund, etc., join and it not working out. That's the slight worry there. But he comes with a fairly decent reputation. Didn't have the best season last year. I think the whole of Leipzig struggled. I think he only got 12 or 13 league goals. But it's a lot of money. Quick thoughts on the player? Obviously, he was linked heavily with Arsenal going back before Berta joined. It looked like Sesko was the one Arsenal, or Arteta, I should say, wanted. But then the Gyökeres shift sort of happened soon around March when. And do you think it's the fee that played a part? Because I've heard, don't know how true this is, but Gunnar Blog, he's fairly reliable. He said Berta was adamant, 65 million. We're not going over that price for a striker.
Yeah, so I think just touched on the last point. I think Edu's been working on the Sesko deal for almost about 2 years, and I think in the background they had agreed a price, and then for some reason Leipzig started playing hardball and wanted a different price, and I think that's where Berta put his foot down, and we shifted away and moved to our second choice target, which ended up being Gyökeres, which was probably the fans' first choice target. Just thoughts on Sesko as a player. I have done a lot of comp watching on Sesko. What I see with him, by the time his career could go either two ways. It could be one of the ones where we're like, it's a Mudryk where it looks like there's so much potential there, but it turns out we dodged a massive bullet. Or it could be another Alexander Isak situation where at the time the price looks absolutely ridiculous. I mean, Isak had 3 league goals before he moved to Newcastle that season at Sociedad. It's going to go one of the two ways. I can't tell you which way it would go. The only thing about Sesko, he does okay, I'll put it this way. Out of all the comps you've seen of Sesko, how many times have you seen that Trivela from the heart, like from miles out where it's an open net? And I just think if that's like the best goal that you're seeing for his compilation, I'd be quite worried. I think that's the way I put it. I prefer what I'd say about Sesko is I prefer his dribbling to his actual goal scoring.
Yeah, and I've watched quite a few comps with. I did speak to you off air and stuff. I think Sesko was high on our list as well. Maybe not top spot, because I always feel he was lower on, but I know he was on the list because there was mention of Sesko, and he reminds me of, I don't know what player he reminds me of, but I think the potential is there. So comparing him to Gyökeres, I think Gyökeres is sort of more the finished article, which is what the Arsenal fans wanted, someone who could come in and deliver now. Whereas Sesko is, there's resale value on Sesko. If he does, if he might not work out, or if he becomes the striker we think he can become, there's potential for them to, get a profit. But I've not watched loads of Sesko. Obviously, it's the stuff on Champions League. I watched him against us a couple of times. He's obviously big, strong striker. He's got a shot on him. Powerful. But again, for me, it's a high fee. But I think it's, again, where you saw us with Ekitike, with add-ons, we're looking at 78, 79 million. I think it's a going rate now for a striker. We paid 85 million with add-ons for Nunez 3 years ago. Inflation, etc. So this is the going rate, 70, 80 million, I think, for a young under 23 top striker in Europe. And when you actually look at the market right now, I think Isak just looks like a bargain if we can get him for 120, 130, because you've got strikers, obviously Ekitike, Sesko, they're going for big money. Relatively, they've only had like one good season, really. Ekitike in his case, Sesko as well, not really. I don't think he's ever hit 20 goals in the league anyway. So yeah, the striker market is a mad one, because I don't see anyone out there that's like, other than Isak, that's I also like Alvarez, but those two are my only like top strikers that may be on the market. Everyone else, for me, I never had Gyökeres in that tier. I said very early on, when I was speaking with Liverpool fans, who are the top strikers on the market? For me, Isak, Alvarez, there's a big gap, and then maybe likes of Osimhen and then you got Gyökeres, and then younger ones like Sesko, Ekitike. That's always been my, thoughts on the striker market. But it's going to be interesting to see with the Sesko rejection
Yeah.
to Newcastle, what they go and do, and then how do you see them sort of coming back in terms of who they go for next? Because as you see from the thumbnail, I put Jackson in there, Nico Jackson. Now, a lot of people might just laugh, and Nico Jackson has become a bit of a meme or funny. Like, what do you make of Nico Jackson? And do you think, there are links there? Ornstein's put it out there. Do you think that would be something that could be a good signing for Newcastle?
Yeah, I don't think there's much alternative, to be honest. Jackson is technically Prem proven. I'd say even though he is a meme striker, he's done better numbers than a lot of strikers, and the potential is there to be seen. He has really good flashes in moments games, ignoring just the goals for a second, even in terms of picking up the ball from halfway line, taking a couple of players on. He's done that numerous times. I think he's a good player. I think unfortunately that is probably the only realistic option they're left with. You've got even Evan Ferguson, who's gone to Roma. There's very little striker options that you'd actually consider worth Newcastle going for.
Yeah, we know Newcastle wanted João Pedro. He's gone Chelsea. Ekitike's gone Liverpool. Sesko looks like he's off to United.
They wanted Mbeumo as well.
Yeah, Mbeumo obviously as a I think instead of Elanga, I think Elanga might have been the backup for them. There's Watkins. If you want to go for 29-year-old proven striker, I can still see them getting a Watkins. Wissa, I think, is more of a Callum Wilson backup. I think it'll be Wissa and a top striker. But going on to, I want to move it along a bit to Liverpool and how it links in with this Isak stuff, because Newcastle won't sell Isak to Liverpool unless they have a striker in, and it will have to be someone on top of Wissa. Wissa probably gets done. I'm not concerned. If I was a Newcastle fan, I think Wissa will get done hook or by crook by September 1st. And then it's the other striker. If they don't get a striker, it could, be a bit, could hold this Isak deal up. And that's what, for me, is holding the Isak deal up. I think as soon as if Newcastle got Sesko, you would have seen movement on Isak, I think. Because again, today, I don't know if you've seen, Isak was banished sort of again from training. He was made to train alone. He turned up, I think, after the main team had left, and then he done a bit of training or recovery, whatever it was. So, yeah, that's the domino we're waiting for. First one looks like Sesko's going. So, in terms of Watkins, do you think Newcastle should go for someone like him, where he doesn't have much resale value? Again, it's for the now.
Yeah. I think the question should be, would Watkins actually want to go to Newcastle? I mean, the switch is obviously just Champions League football, sideways. But yeah, it's quite sideways. And I think he's having, I don't know if you've seen his preseason, it looks like he's scoring for fun at the moment. It's definitely going to be one of my picks in FPL. He looks great at the moment. So I don't know whether it would actually be worth for him to switch. It could be just a nice little way for him to get into Champions League football again. But I think Newcastle are also in a sticky position where everyone knows they're about to receive 120 plus for Isak. So whatever they want to pay, they're going to have to add another Isak tax on it. So it's whether Newcastle will do that. If I was Newcastle, I'd go for it. And then in a couple of years' time, there might be a new market opportunity that comes. Whatever they do, they need to stay in the Champions League consistently. So if that means a Watkins that can only last you a year or two, go for that.
Yep. So yeah, that's sort of Newcastle briefly touched upon. Going on to Isak, again, this Isak saga is dragging now. I feel like a lot of updates, it's been going on for 2-3 weeks now, I think. We've discussed Isak sort of last stream quite a bit, how he would fit in. So we're not going to discuss, how he's going to play. Obviously, we know what top striker is. I want to discuss more about Liverpool selling, obviously, Nunez today. As you'll see on the title, Nunez is pretty much confirmed. I think Romano, we got the here we go. Let me have a look. He tweeted. What did he say? 1 second. So, yeah, Darwin to Al Hilal. Here we go. Verbal agreement has been completed. 53 million euros plus add-ons. 3-year deal, surprisingly. And Nunez has said yes. Inzaghi wanted him. Medical next. And Nunez, just a quick Obviously, when we signed Nunez 3 years ago now, 2022, I was quite excited by the signing. It was big money at the time, something we don't normally do. It's not really worked out. And yeah, I think to get the money we got for him, 53 million euros plus the add-ons, yeah, I think it's very good business. When you look at it in terms of sort of PSR, I think it's actually, if he hits the add-ons, it's a 25 million accounting profit as well. So because we signed Nunez 64 plus, rising to 85 with the add-ons, and because he hasn't hit all the add-ons, that's how it works out from what I hear. So yeah, quick thoughts on this move, because there's obviously Nunez is another striker, big striker still on the move. Are you surprised there's no European move for him? What's your thoughts on this move?
What's his wages like? I think that's my first question. I actually don't know.
He's well.
I know what he's getting. What he's going to get at Saudi is obviously triple. But at Liverpool, what was he getting paid?
Well, the sort of capology and stuff. Obviously, they're not always accurate, but 140k a week is the.
Yeah, then that would surprise me, I
Google
guess. Yeah, that would surprise me, I guess, because I would say I thought if his wages were a lot higher, which I thought they were, to be fair, I'd guess that would be a blocker as to why maybe a Serie A team, because I thought he'd be Serie A bound next.
Yeah.
I know there's a lack of strikers in that league, so I thought that's where maybe Inter Milan or someone, or sorry, not Inter Milan, AC Milan or someone else would look at him.
To be fair, he was so close to joining Napoli. The Napoli move broke down. I think that was his initial first choice. He wanted to go Napoli, but the fee Liverpool are demanding is very hard for Italian teams to match these figures. 53 euros, sorry, with add-ons. I just think the money's not there with those clubs, and that's why Saudi seems like the option.
Yeah, it's a win-win for everyone. The Premier League is now basically the Super League. No other leagues have as much money, apart from Real Madrid and Barca and maybe PSG. But I think what Saudi is kind of doing now, and we've seen it with Aubameyang and a few other players, Saudi's almost a stopgap for these players. They spend a year or two there, make their money, and then come back. So it'll be interesting to see where Nunez ends up in a two or 3 years, because I don't think this is the last we'll see of Nunez in European football.
Yeah, because interestingly, he only got the 3-year deal, which is unusual. Usually, for a striker like that, you expect 5 years, 6 years. So maybe he always has plans to come back, maybe to Italy later on. But in terms of quick thoughts, myself as a Liverpool fan on the Nunez, obviously he's given us some good moments. I still remember January 5th, Brentford. If you remember, you texted me after that game as well. Nunez 0-0. I think it's 89, 90 minutes. Nunez goes and scores against Brentford, and he scores a brace in that game, wins it. And that was such a crucial game, because that was our game in hand. And if we lost or drew points, Arsenal closed the gap. But then Nunez goes and scores, takes it to 9 points, and then you just know, like, this is it. We're going to win this league. So that moment, I don't think we won the league last year, but those Nunez goals against Brentford, I never celebrated a goal more than those 2 goals. So yeah, I mean, he's given us some good moments. Obviously, he's had his fair share of misses, and ultimately he's had 3 years now, and I think we've been ruthless with it, and we've just shifted him on, which is not really a surprise. I mean, this is, if you've been following this case, you'll know Liverpool wanted rid of Nunez, and we expect significant sort of change in our front line. So we've seen Diaz has gone for 65. Nunez has gone for 50 odd million as well. So that's a lot of incoming revenue for Liverpool, and this is where they can go and invest, because we're looking at Liverpool spending a lot of money on Wirtz for 116 million. Isak might be coming on for 120, 130 million. Liverpool can sort of do this as well, because the outgoings are, and I mentioned to you as well earlier, the money we're bringing in is sort of top whack again for a lot of these players. Like Tyler Morton's gone for 15 million. Kwanzaa went for 34. Trent's gone for 8.5. Kelleher went for 18. So that's how Liverpool are sort of operating now, and I think it's great business for all parties, and hopefully the Isak deal can get done. But in terms of transfers elsewhere, anything else that obviously you mentioned Grealish to Everton? What do you make of that as well?
Yeah, I want to see Grealish at somewhere else. I want to. It's a player I really like following. I think somewhere where he could be the main man, go a little bit more central again, and just kind of be able to sort of have a role where he's just given the ball and then he's told to make things happen. I know McNeil's done that in the past for different clubs, that kind of role where he's just getting the ball and he's just the only sole creator. I think that's where Grealish thrives. So wherever he goes, I think it'll be good. It'll be a win for football. And it'll be interesting to see if it is a City issue or whether it was a Grealish issue. I think that'll also be interesting to see.
Yeah, I think he needs to move. I think he's not really worked out either. I know he won the treble and he played a big part that year, but you'd expect a lot more.
7 goals in seven Premier League goals, which is just that is one of the worst like Premier League flops that doesn't get spoken about enough.
Yeah, it's just when you're winning, like we've seen it ourselves when we won the league last year. A lot of players, like even like Darwin, getting away with it because obviously we won the league. So, but we've been ruthless with it. Man City, I think they need to be ruthless, get rid of him, which I think they are now. And I'm excited to see Grealish anyway. With David Moyes, could be a decent move for him up in Everton. Let's quickly discuss. Obviously, we touched on a few transfers. Let us know in the chat, guys, if you want us to speak about a certain player that we haven't discussed. Do let us know. We've got a quick comment from Rafwan, who's probably a Liverpool fan or is a Liverpool fan, with the up the net spend profit Reds. Obviously, John Henry is pulling out all stops this summer, so it's good to see. Let's quickly touch on if we're on the subject of Liverpool. Obviously we had the preseason game. Actually, let's discuss Arsenal because obviously we'll come on to Liverpool because Arsenal just played earlier. I did watch some of this the game, most of it I'd say. Obviously I was still doing stuff for YouTube. I actually messaged you in the morning, WhatsApped you. I watched Arsenal's game against Spurs and AC Milan. I think you won one of the games. Obviously it was a loss against Spurs, but I think preseason you shouldn't really. I don't take too much stock in wins, losses, and draws because I think a lot of it is about fitness. It's about seeing how they play. So I don't get too bogged down with results, but I do want to discuss preseason. I mean, what's your thoughts on your preseason so far, anyway, from an Arsenal point of view?
So this segment's going to be a bit interesting. I'm basically going to be on a cooking grill, and you're going to be just flipping me like a little patty. Arsenal are in a bad place at the moment. I think it looks like we're in for another season of horseshoe football. When I say horseshoe football, I mean the shape of we're going from left wing back round to right wing. It's very stale, very predictable. A lot of clubs have sussed us out. We've in preseason, I know we don't want to get too bogged down with preseason, but we've only scored 2 open play goals in 4 games, which is very concerning, and we've conceded a lot of goals. Whilst we don't give up any chances, any chance we do give up in a game always turns out into a goal. And it's come to a point now where before Arsenal fans would always say, we just give up 1 chance a game, we concede, and it'd always feel like we're hard done by. But now when it happens, when it's been happening for over 12 months, it's now becoming a theme. So whether it's a setup problem, which I think it is, it looks like the Spurs game, the 11 that were out for most of the pitch were the same 11 from last season, bar Norgard. So I would expect the same results as last season. Today's game was very worrying, with Gyökeres getting 60 minutes and having 14 touches and 4 passes. It's an absolute nightmare, and I think Arteta's got a lot of questions to answer.
This is what I was saying about Gyökeres. This is what you're going to get with Gyökeres. He's a similar striker in the mold to a Haaland, to a Nunez, where they're not really going to drop deep and build up and pass. They're more about in the box. If a chance gets me, I'm going to shoot and score. I don't expect that to change in terms of build up, getting touches and linking up. He's more just of a killer. But going on to Arsenal, where I want to talk about Arsenal is the tactics and the formation. And I was going to say this before this game I watched, just that we've just seen. So my thing with Arsenal right now, from what I see, there is issues in the balance of the team. They're right side heavy. I think like they go down the right a lot to Saka, obviously, which makes sense. Saka is the main player. But on the left-hand side, I've seen Skelly, he inverts a lot, which means there's no one going on the overlap on that Martinelli side. And because no one's going to the byline, Martinelli is essentially, he has to 1v1 every time. And then when he doesn't beat the man, everyone's getting onto Martinelli, but I do think Martinelli needs someone to help him out on that left side. So like a Kirkhead, someone bombing on, or Arsenal don't really have that player, or Zinchenko before even he started inverting. But Arsenal don't have a left back that goes on the outside to help Martinelli, because now it's predictable. Because what Skelly's doing, he's coming he's inverting in. Rice is inverting into that side as well, and it's like, you know what I mean? It's like congestion in that left-sided 8 role. That's one thing I've seen with bit of defense of Martinelli, because he didn't have the best game. But are you concerned with there's no left back that can give him space on that side?
So
He's having to keep coming in.
So I think that's been happening for about 2 seasons now. A lot of Martinelli stands, should we call them, have always said that the problem he doesn't have anyone to work with, and I do agree with that. And whilst Skelly can invert, it's not to say that he's incapable of overlapping. I think this is a system issue where we're very right-hand dominant. If we are to introduce Eze, I still think that doesn't solve all our problems. We'd still need an actual...
That's what I was going to say. Eze does not fix this issue. And going back to what I've been saying, they need to go and buy a left winger that will frighten players, i.e. a Leao or Rodrigo. And if you don't buy that level of player, I just don't think you've bought good players. I think you need to buy that level above, someone on the level of Saka, if not better than him, if you know what I mean.
Oh, 100%. I think until... I do also wonder whether it is, even with a Leao, 100% it will improve it, because whilst where Martinez in 1v1 situations will have Leao, who's a much more of a 1v1 expert, should we say, I still do think we have a massive system issue. I think the biggest issue is we have Rice and Ødegaard on the wrong sides. I think Ødegaard needs to be on his natural side and Rice needs to be on the natural side. I've watched clips of when Rice has drifted into the right side, which was more in his first season at Arsenal, and he was able to... His biggest criticism from a lot of rival fans is, he can't pass between the lines, he can't touch and turn on the ball. When he's on the right side, he's a lot more natural and it looks a lot more comfortable for him. And then vice versa for Ødegaard. I think the biggest criticism of him right now is his reluctance to pass forward. And I do think I think there's a massive system flaw in Arteta in terms of we've never explored the alternate angles if we move them onto their opposite foot. And I think until we try something else, I don't understand how we can expect to see different results as fans if we're trying the same method over and over again. I think it's going to be a very bleak season for Arsenal.
To me, it looks like Arteta's kept the same system of last season and the same tactics, but he's just changed players. He's elevated in his thoughts better players. So he's replaced Havertz for Gyökeres. He's replaced Partey for Zubimendi. He's replaced potentially Madueke, will come on to as a left winger for Martinelli, and he's just elevated better players in their positions. But really, he's not changed anything in terms of the style of play, or the way you build up, etc., etc. So that's my only concern. That is a big concern for me, that he's just bought players that are better essentially.
Yeah,
and he's left everything else the same. You're not doing anything new on the ball.
So I think that's a big worry for us. I think there's 2 ways to look at it, right? If we look at it in the glass half full, Arteta's probably looking at, for 2 seasons, I've been a couple of points off the title. Surely if I improve the personnel, I'm going to get better results. But I do think we've seen it time and time again. History always repeats itself. The more, without adapting and refreshing your system, even if it's subtle tweaks, you will fall behind the pack. It's happened with City, it's happened with Chelsea back in the day, it's happened with Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool. You do need to constantly refresh your tactics. Sorry, did I cut off there?
Yeah, I think we both cut off. Let us know in the chat, guys. Did you catch that bit? That would be helpful.
I can just quickly repeat it. It was just a quick note. I was just saying, I think you can look at it on 2 sides. One side, you're looking at Arsenal. We've been a couple of points off the title, or a couple of seasons in a row. So Arteta's in his head, you could say, well, surely if we're improving the personnel, and there has been a massive improvement, surely that gets us over the line. But then if you look on the other side, every quality team and every quality manager has been forced to tweak or adapt a system, and if you don't, you get left behind. It's happened with Chelsea in the past with Tuchel's system. It's happened with Jurgen Klopp himself. The system got outdated. You can argue about the players, but if you don't tweak and refresh, even with City a couple of years ago when they were falling behind the pack, and then Pep had to tweak mid-season, putting John Stones into midfield. unless you do these tweaks, you aren't going to progress.
Yeah, that's the only sort of concern I had with Arsenal. Is Arteta going to play the same way where he's afraid to death of being counterattacked? And I think that has to change. He has to take risks and he has to go for it, because for me, if you buy Gyökeres, he's a transition player. He relies on transitions. A lot of his goals, if you see it, he's through one-on-one with the goalie.
Yep.
And it's on transition. If you play the nice tippy-tappy stuff around the box and you try feed Gyökeres for a shot, I don't think it's going to work. I think you play to Gyökeres' strengths, which is the transitions, like a Haaland. But the problem is, again, Arsenal, Man United, Old Trafford, first game of the season. I would not be surprised if Havertz starts that game, personally. I still think Arteta loves Havertz, but we'll see with that.
Yeah,
with that situation.
I think we have to remember as well, Martinelli is a transition player as well. The season where he had his best season, I think it was 15 goals in the Premier League. I don't know if that was it. It was a little bit less than that.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
We were a massive transition team that season. It was the first season where we really stepped onto the scene under Arteta. Saka as well. He might not have the electric pace, but he's definitely thrives in transition. He's done it at the North London derby last season where Havertz gave a long ball. Saka can kill his defender. He's done it against Liverpool last season where he turned Robson inside out from a long ball in behind. It's gonna we definitely have the capability, and I do think when you've got Declan Rice and you've got Saliba and Gabriel, which are arguably the best centre back partnership in the world, we have to be able to take more risks, and it is on the manager. It comes to a point where I'd be excited to see what we can do under a new manager. It's come to that point now where we have such an exciting 11. I'm almost ready for a change, simply just to see something different.
Yeah. Okay. So that's your thoughts on Arsenal. Just quickly touching on what I was saying as well. In terms of transfers relating to Arsenal, we'll discuss. Obviously, they've bought a bunch of players. In my honest thoughts on Arsenal, sort of no holds bars opinion on it. I think the players have bought, I think they should have bought another caliber of player. I don't think any player they've signed, in my opinion, is what's the word? Is someone like this top tier, because I think best in class, I should say. I still don't feel like they've bought best in class in any position, bar Zubimendi. I think Zubimendi's the only one is best in class in his position, where you can say he's probably the best DM or six in his style of playing, his profile. That's my only concern. I still feel like you needed I hate using these buzz phrases from Twitter and stuff, but ceiling raisers. Someone who's gonna actually come into the team and he's gonna be that next that take you to that next level. I'm still not convinced. In Madueke, obviously Gyökeres, these players do it. But again, we'll see, because it's a long season, and Gyökeres could bag 20. But
the window's not over yet as well.
Yeah,
you've got if Eze does come in, I would say he's probably a ceiling raiser. I think every time Eze's on the pitch, no matter who he's playing against, he's definitely in the top 2 players on the pitch. He would be a ceiling raiser, I would class.
I personally wouldn't.
You wouldn't?
No, for me, you've got to go buy an Isak, a Wirtz, that level of superstar player. Like, honestly,
you don't think Eze's a ceiling raiser?
Nah. I think he's a good player. He's a very good player, actually, I should say. I think he's 27, so he's at his peak now. So you are again buying a peak age player, but I don't think he's not for me that level of player. I still think he's been at Palace for a while. Obviously, he has good seasons, but is he gonna? If he comes into your team, is he guaranteed to start? I don't think he is.
Yeah, I mean, I also don't think he will probably get a good fare of minutes in terms of left wing and at 8 for Odegaard, but it probably won't be all the minutes, like you said, which again could probably be an indication he's not world class.
Another Saka. You need someone on
Saka's
level.
I think left wing is the if we can get a world class player there, which is basically Rodrigo, Leao, and I would like to chuck Barcola in that mix as well.
Like comparing it to Liverpool, just very quickly. Liverpool won the league, right? And we're gonna go and get best in class attacker right now available on the market, Isak. We're gonna go buy Wirtz, which is for me the best 10 on the market right now. Arguably, he's one of the best in the world in his position. Those two, from like those level of signings, I think you need. And for me, Rodrigo, even though he's a right winger who sort of is playing out of position, he would be in that category for me, even though he's not ever hit those numbers yet. But I think a lot of that is because he's playing on the right. Someone like that level where you go buy and you think wow, Arsenal have signed this. I think you need that level of signing. I'm not sure Eze is it. It doesn't mean Eze is not going to be a good player. With Eze, I think it's more going back to the conversation about Madueke. I've maintained that position that Madueke is the left winger signing for Arsenal, and by Christmas, you will see Madueke is starting left wing for Arsenal. I think he may not start. I don't think he will start straight away. I think Martinelli is still going to have the berth on the left side against United, etc. But I think as you see closer, maybe get to Christmas halfway through the season, I wouldn't be surprised if he takes that berth. And I know there's a chat amongst the Arsenal fans. He's Saka backup. Those are the same guys that told me Raya is back up to Ramsdale. Havertz is a left-sided 8. Rice is an 8. All these positions that they said that we're signing him for X, but they play elsewhere. Madueke is another Raya, Rice, Havertz situation. He's gonna be left wing. And Arsenal fans, trust me on this one. We'll revisit it again.
Yeah, I think the more time goes on and the more likely it looks we're not going to sign a left winger. I think that's probably a fair prediction to say. I don't think it's going to be hard to displace Martinelli out of the team. Madueke is definitely an improvement on Martinelli. The level of improvement where he is on Martinelli, I think that's yet to be said. I think in his last season at Chelsea, he's had pretty poor performances on the right, and then on the left, on that back end of the season, he was having some good performances on the left. I know for England, he's produced a bit on the right. I think he's definitely going to be on both wings. I think at the start of the season, we'll probably see him more as backup for Saka, as you said. And then I think, eventually he will displace Martinelli. I think unless we sign a left wing, he will be our new left wing.
And even if you sign Eze, I wouldn't rule it out.
I wouldn't. So the leaks, what everyone's saying is from sources close to Arsenal that Eze, not that, it's that Eze is going to be seen as more of a central player. So it looks like Eze is going to be more seen, which I think is his best position. I don't mind him on the left wing, but I do think it's the same thing of when we spoke about 1v1. Whilst Eze can beat his man 1v1, if we're looking at what the team needs and its pace, I mean, our team, if you compare us to all the big teams in the world, one thing we lack is probably pace. I mean, Gyökeres has had a little bit, but you're talking Liverpool have got elite pace with Salah. They did have it with Nunez as well, but I know Ekitike is quite fast as well. All the big teams have some serious pace on their wings, and Arsenal don't have much. So whilst Eze is great, I do think he is a central player.
Yeah, so that's what I was saying. Like, even if Eze comes and he signs, and that's more for me, it's an Odegaard. Maybe Odegaard drops out, because I still feel like the Madueke, even his profile, the pace he brings, the directness he brings, the two-footedness, going on the outside, which Eze won't do. He won't go on the outside and go to the byline and cut it back, which Madueke can. I've seen Madueke do it a lot of times, to be fair. Even against us, he did sort of. But we'll see. But yeah, it's just the thoughts I thought, because a couple of weeks ago, the whole narrative about Madueke being a backup, I don't think that's the case, and I've been adamant on this one, as I have been on a lot of positions. As we know, we've gone back and forth on the Rice 8-6 thing, and he's going to buy an 8, and then he bought Zubimendi, and then etc. I'm not going to go into it all. But yeah, I'm interested to see how Arsenal do. I still think they'll be right up there, competing. But to get over the line, so far, if the window closed today, I'd be slightly disappointed. If I was an Arsenal fan, I mean, what do you think of your window? If you had to say, are you completely happy with your whole window, the signings you made, the caliber as well, which is what my slight. I don't know if you've bought the best in class.
So before the window was even open, I think last season, I know the consensus around everywhere and just general media was a striker, but for me it was actually a left winger. I think most of our problems lied within left wing. I mean, we've seen Marino and Havertz be able to get a pretty decent amount of numbers when they are up top. So I didn't feel that was our main issue. It's probably if you're talking 1 and 2, is probably a very close second. But left wing was our biggest issue. So if the window was to close right now, I would feel a little bit disheartened. About best in class, I think Zubimendi, we've got best in class. Gyökeres, not best in class, but definitely top 3, in my opinion, of what's available. I think, like you said, there is Isak and Alvarez, and there is a big gap. But I think in terms of what was available, we've got what's best in class after Isak. Obviously, at the time, we didn't know he was available. which is a whole nother discussion. So I'm happy with that signing. Madueke, not so happy because, again, not best in class, nowhere near best in class. And the fee we've paid almost a best in class fee for someone who's not even top 10, considering there's Leao available for a little bit more. And there's Rodrigo. I know we're talking wages and add-ons and all that, but it's slightly disappointing.
Okay, so but you overall, you say you're fairly happy with your window, but could be better.
I would say, yeah, I'd say if I was to rate it, I would say it was 6.5.
Okay, so it's not a terrible window. I mean, I still think you've bought good players.
We've had worse windows. I would say
Yeah,
the window we
it's,
had
it's still a very
summer
good
before
window.
was worse.
Like
Yeah.
this might be one of your best windows in years anyway. The amount of players and
Yeah.
how quickly you've bought these players in. Like I still think Mascara is a good signing for the fee. For me, very quickly, Zubimendi's I think is a good signing. Mascara, I like the signing at his price. Madueke, I'm not sure on him, but I don't think he's as bad as people make out. Zubimendi, I mentioned Zubimendi already. Norgard, I think, is a decent backup signing for that price again. And Gyökeres, I'm not 100% on him because I don't. That Nunez thing has burnt me a bit, like the Nunez situation. So again, we'll see how he does. But yeah, I'm not as high on him as others. But I've not watched a lot of him anyway, so I can't give him my opinions yet. I'm still jury's out for me. Let's move on to Liverpool anyway. Obviously, my team. I think Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City as well. We don't want to rule them out. Again, we expect them to be fighting it out. Chelsea, who knows? I don't think they'll be far away. I think Chelsea, people might be sleeping on them, but that's another discussion for another stream probably. Going on to Liverpool very quickly in terms of pre-season. Just quickly, which players have stood out for you pre-season? If you give them like a couple of players, one or two.
For our own clubs or just in general?
Yeah, just for Arsenal.
For me, it's been very, 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 very tough watch for Arsenal, to be honest. The only game which was a little bit positive was Newcastle, which was a 3-2. It was a bit of an end-to-end game.
I'll go Dalman.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Dalman for me has been a shining spark. I mean, every single time he's come on, it's the only thing that's given a bit of hope this season in terms of Arteta's willingness to play him. He's played in every single preseason game. He's one of the only few players to do so. I'm hoping that kind of continues. I think he's looked better than Saka this season. So this preseason. So I think that's probably been the only shining spark.
Yeah, all right. We spent too long on Arsenal for a team that is it's not as good as Liverpool. So moving on to Liverpool. Yeah, where do we start? We've had a few games in preseason. I think we beat Preston, comfortable game. But then we lost actually to AC Milan. I think it was like 3-1. It was quite a big scoreline in there. That one we weren't great again. But again, I didn't take too much off it because you look at our centre backs in that game, and a lot of I watched Arsenal's games in preseason. It feels like you guys play your main team and you take them off after like 60, whereas we're doing like a whole new team every second half. So we have the main team, and then 45 we're switching every 11 players. So I do take that into account as well. So again, I'm not taking too much from our preseason games in terms of results. Obviously we won. We had a double header against Bilbao. We won both those games, scored quite a few goals. But for me, the preseason wise, I think what it shows, the players that stood out to me the most, again, just to go back onto this question, for me, Mo Salah again, guy he's sharp. He doesn't look like he missed a beat. Again, looks the fittest person on the pitch. He's obviously 33 now, and he's still looking sharp. So I expect a good start from him again. As always, I've been very, very impressed with another player that maybe has even Liverpool fans has completely forgot this guy, or maybe a bit of even disrespect. He doesn't get the credit. When Vert signed, this guy's done. That was the sort of a narrative, I was seeing. But Szoboszlai has probably been the best player in preseason for me. And what he does on the pitch, and when I was speaking to other Liverpool fans, a lot of the narrative was that maybe now we've signed Verts, that means he's lost his place. I can guarantee you guys now, Szoboszlai is one of the most important players in the 11. And if we're playing Arsenal away at Emirates, we're going to Etihad, if we're playing PSG, the big teams, physical teams, Szoboszlai starting, because you see when he doesn't play, you see what we lack in terms of the physicality, and even just the legs, the engine. So yeah, I've been very impressed with Szoboszlai, playing a lot of roles, playing deeper, playing right back. He's one I think to watch out on. I think he's gonna have a good season. So he's the one. Salah, Szoboszlai for me is standouts. And one quick mention as well of Ekitike. Obviously, just the one game I did like what I saw from him, because he's completely different to Nunez. In a sense where Nunez again likes to play on the last line, doesn't really can't. I mean, when you look at Nunez's touch, it's a bit off sometimes, where it's loose passing here and there. Whereas Ekitike, I watch him, obviously still just a preseason game, but from what I've watched, comps, articles, etc., he has a very good first touch. He can drop in, go on the left, link up a bit more. So I'm excited to see what Ekitike does. But in terms of our preseason concerns, you want to say something? Sorry.
Yeah, you've forgotten the main player, man. The one who's taking all the spotlight at the moment, Rio.
Oh yeah, I mean,
he's been amazing. I've watched little bits and I've seen a little bit of clips online, and this guy looks like just Sterling reincarnated. He looks amazing.
Yeah, to be fair, I didn't mention him because obviously I was mentioning more of the players I expect to play a big part next season. I do think Rio's looked good. He looked very good actually. Again, probably one of our better players. I think he scored like 2 or 3 goals. Looks electric, exciting. But I hope we don't let the hype I want us to nurture him properly. Don't just chuck him in and play him every game kind of thing. I hope we give him the time and the development to become that top player without putting too much pressure on him. But yeah, he does look like a good player.
Do you think he's not ready to get more regular minutes, even off the bench?
I think he's ready to come off the bench in a Carabao Cup game, even start Carabao Cup games, come off the FA Cup, maybe get 5-10 minutes. But I don't want to, like Wanyeri situation. Even though Wanyeri was ready, he came in. If we're in a position where we're relying on Rio to win us games and stuff next season, I'd be worried personally, even though he's done well, because I don't want to be in a position where we're relying on him kind of thing. But yeah, he looks good. I think he is ready, because I look at him. He looks, he's fit, like he's running at fullbacks at every opportunity. He's got a really good shot on him. But yeah, it's more of the tempering expectations, because we've seen it before. A young name hyped up, and then maybe they get too many minutes. So that's my only concern with him. But yeah, he looks ready. He can play, cup games. I think he will get minutes in that sense.
Yeah. I was only asking, I wondered whether he can get into the World Cup squad, but it's probably going to be a bit tough.
I don't think so. I wouldn't want him to anyway, because I hope this player. I think he's got a bright future, but we need to sort of manage it a bit. Yeah, in terms of concerns preseason wise, I still think, obviously, you look at Liverpool's business. Just we've signed obviously the 2 new fullbacks, Kerkez and Frimpong. Wirtz has come in for club record fee. Ekitike has come in for big money. Isak, we've mentioned to death. Sort of, he's looking like he's going to be the next through the door. A lot of money spent from Liverpool. A lot of exciting attacking talent. I do feel like we're short on a centre back, because for those that would have watched our preseason games, they would have seen Van Dijk missed out a game, or 2 games against Bilbao. So Endo has to play centre back. Robertson is playing there, and it doesn't look good. So we do need another one, because Gomez, we know, can't stay fit. Gomez, unfortunately, picked up another knock. Don't know how serious it is. And essentially right now we've got Van Dijk, who missed out through illness. Konate, who is technically injury prone as well. We miss his games. Gomez, who's injury prone. And then we don't have a 4th choice centre-back because we sold Quansah. So we have 3 senior centre-backs right now. So if we don't buy that 4th centre-back, whether it's a Guehi or a younger one like Leone, that's one position where it will worry me if we don't buy centre-back. And even if we get Isak, because the balance, that's slightly worrying me. But I'm not worried in the sense of, I think we will get a player in. I do think a centre-back. I'll be shocked if we don't get one. Going on to this comment as well. Have you seen Barcola to Liverpool is coming out? Yeah, I've seen it. French L'Equipe, etc. I don't know how real this is. I know there's previous interest in this player. I think he's a top player. Again, another player, I think Arsenal go put the money down, go get Barcola. He changes for me a lot of things for you. So, but yeah, I'd love him, but I don't know how realistic it is because he's going to cost you 100 million euros as well. So, but let's see anyway, because Liverpool seem like they've got surprises. If you told me we're going to sign Wirtz and Isak, I would never have believed you at the start of the summer. But maybe we'll see.
Barcola is one that I'm so if I'm ordered to rank Barcola, Rodrigo, Leao, Rodrigo is actually probably bottom of my list. I know that would be contrary to what everyone thinks, but
yeah,
it would be a toss up between Barcola and Leao. I'd probably put Barcola first.
fair enough. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Barcola. I think he's only 22. The reason he can't play, because Kvara's in front of him at the moment, but he scored a lot of goals last season. Actually, people forget as well, in that first leg against Liverpool, PSG, it was actually Barcola that started. Doué didn't start, and Barcola, he was running rings around us at points. Should have had a penalty, obviously, as well. Konate fouled him in the box. So he was causing us problems. So yeah, he's a player I like, and I'll take him at Liverpool, but not sure how he's going to take our spend up to God knows what, 500 plus. So I can't see it happening. Yeah, going back to Liverpool, in terms of what I season, what I think. Obviously, if we get Isak over the line, I'll be confident of retaining this league. I think we have to after the outlay. But yeah, I'm quite quietly confident. I don't want to go out there and say, we're definitely going to win the league, but with the signings we've made, it fills me with confidence that we're the league champions. I think we're 10 points ahead of second place, and we've gone and bought, in my opinion, better players. So for me, that does fill me with confidence. I don't know what you think of our signings. I didn't really get your thoughts. What do you make of the move so far and the possible impeding transfer of Isak?
I think it's great business. I think Wirtz is sort of a little bit of an unknown entity. I know you're quite adamant that he is best in class, but I'm really still interested in how he does in the league. Whether he just sets it alight from day one or whether it takes him a little bit of time. That's what I would be interested in. I think all your other signings are pretty much spot on. It's like you guys are playing career mode at this point. And I think I've said it before. I think the only worry I'd have if I was a Liverpool fan is just your like a backup defender in terms of Konate and VVD. VVD's aging on. I would expect him to at least get a knock or two this season. I know he's been quite reliable, but at some point age does have to catch up. Then we're talking about Konate, who has seemed to got over his injury problems, but it would concern me if one of those two dropped if I was a Liverpool fan. And then also Gravenberch. I think there's a few fail points in your team which needs to still be addressed. But even saying that, I think you guys are so strong in attack, it could even become a case like the Jurgen Klopp days where you would just simply outscore every team.
Yeah. Yeah, when I look at the attacks, obviously, Man City, we can't forget them in this conversation. I do feel like we should have the best attack on paper. I think Man City, I'd say, actually have the second best attack. If I had to rank the three teams, but Arsenal have a superior defense. But yeah, look, we'll see. I'm confident that we can win the league again, but obviously players need to gel because there is a lot of changes at Liverpool, and they may not straight away click, all of them. That's a little other concern, but the players we're signing, we're letting go the likes of Nunez, who didn't play much last season. I think he had 6 league goals. So for me, bringing in Isak, even with the transition period or whatnot, I just can't see it not working in that sense. But for me, the fullbacks is a big one. Changing 2 fullbacks in a season is interesting. That could defensively what it means. But I think Liverpool are going to be interesting next season. I think there's so many weapons in this team now. The ways we can hurt a team, Frimpong, Salah on that side, I think is a scary prospect against low blocks when teams are sitting in at Anfield. But yeah, I'm excited of the moves. I think we've had a very good window, not just incomings. I think outgoings is a lot of people don't look at it as a thing. I think our trading and our business has been good in terms of outgoings as well. So let's see how it goes. Window is still 25 days I think left before 24 days before transfer window shuts. I think you're still expecting at least one more with Eze. I'm still expecting at least 2 more with Isak as centre back, maybe 3. Who knows? Because just looking at our attack now, we've got Salah, Gakpo, uh, Ekitike, and if you count Chiesa, who I think will leave as well, potentially. So we're short on attack as well, which when you think about it, we had 6 attackers. And for me, a big reason why we won the league last season is because our worst attacker would probably be Arsenal's 3rd best attacker, kind of thing. That's why we won the league. A big reason why. So losing that depth and the firepower, we need to buy a couple, I think, still. So we are short, but from what I hear from, we are planning to still end the window really strong. So I think that 500 million, maybe not 500 million, but 450, I think we should break that mark. So watch this space. Anything else you want to discuss in terms of Liverpool? Anything you've watched in pre-season or anything on Liverpool that you want to bring up? Really?
Maybe just a quick one. We don't need to go too detailed into it. In terms of, we were speaking earlier about how Arteta's been quite reluctant to tweak anything, and it's the same. We're playing the same football we've done last season. Has Slot tweaked anything this season? Have you noticed anything different?
Yep, I've already noticed.
Just been a personnel change.
No, so I already noticed a few different things. So going back to last season, just very quickly, obviously Arteta and Arsenal have their way of playing. Arteta's very much, I want to play my way. Whereas Slot, you'll see, isn't like that. I don't think Slot is. I think Slot is a horses for courses sort of manager that adapts his team depending on the opposition he's playing. I don't think he's as stubborn as a Pep or an Arteta. He's more like, if we have to sit in, we'll sit in. If we have to press, we'll press. I think Slot is one of those managers where he adapts to the situation, which I like about him. Even Klopp wasn't like that. Klopp was like, we're going to play this way, regardless of the game state. Whereas Slot, I think he's willing to even concede the ball. He's willing to go into a 4-4-2. But in terms of what we're doing new, I think you're seeing Gravenberch drop in sometime in between the centre backs and build up to help out, because one thing we're losing is Trent. And for me, Trent was one of the best build up in that first phase, bringing the ball out from the line. Because we've lost Trent in the first phase, Gravenberch is now going in a bit more to build up the ball at the back with Van Dijk and Konate. So that's a change I've seen. And also, I'm looking at Szoboszlai's role. Szoboszlai, I think, is going to be sort of a Swiss Army knife this season, where he's going to play in the double pivot. He's going to do shifts at right back. You might see doing shifts in the wing if he has to, if his injuries, etc. So Szoboszlai's role is important. He's playing everywhere, like a Valverde at Real Madrid kind of thing, where they play him a right back because he's so versatile. And those are the sort of. And another thing I've meant, Salah is coming inside a lot more, where he was at points he was wide, where Trent would invert into that role. Now he's going inside, and Frimpong is going on the outside, and Frimpong's one of the quickest players I've ever seen. So yeah, that is quite interesting. Those are subtle changes I've seen, and obviously Ekitike, and we have to see what Isak does. They're complete different strikers compared to Nunez, and I think Slot doesn't want just a goal scorer. I think he wants someone that's going back to the Firmino type of striker we had, where it's more about the goals, it's more about linking up, what you're going to do for your teammates. And Ekitike, I can already tell straight away, he's got IQ, where he does like linking up, where Nunez, he wasn't really that type of striker. And going back to Gyökeres, I think Gyökeres is more that Haaland Nunez side, where he's not about that. But we'll see how that pans out. But yeah, those are sort of the changes. We've discussed sort of Arsenal in depth. We've done bits on Liverpool. Man United, I've not watched much of their preseason. I watched a few clips. Man City, I did watch a bit. I don't know if you caught Club World Cup. I will quickly touch on Man City as well, I think. Have you watched them much?
United I've caught a little bit of, in terms of, I've seen they look like they're stringing some good attacks together, but defensively they still look all over the place. There was actually sorry, I'm sidetracking a little bit, but there was actually a transfer rumor that we didn't speak about, which is probably quite a big one as well, with Baleba rumored to United.
Oh yeah.
If that comes through, I think that will solve a lot of United. Yeah, he's Ornstein's number one fan at the moment.
Yeah,
Yeah, if Baleba does
that's
go
big. Yeah.
United, I think that solves a massive issue, and then I would look at United a lot more seriously than I have in the past.
How long
With
has Baleba got on his deal?
I have no clue. That's
Let
where
me check.
you're the stat expert, all the numbers and figures.
Let me check because I don't think they'll get Baleba. I think they'll get priced out. But let's see his contract situation.
Yeah, knowing Brighton, I'm sure they'll, and
2028.
knowing United.
Yeah, and they got an option for a year. Nah, no chance. They're gonna have to pay 100 plus, I think. Like
That's
Caicedo
crazy.
money. I think they're
Yeah,
gonna
that's
want.
crazy.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
then
he
if it
would
is,
be
yeah,
great.
yeah, he would be a massive game changing signing. Him and Sesko and Buemo and Cunha, you would start to look at
Yeah,
United a lot differently. With City, I'm not seeing much of their preseason apart from the Club World Cup. I mean, they look good. They look a little bit better than they did last season, so I guess that's a positive. And with
yeah,
Pep, I think he's just such a genius. You just can't ever write them off.
yeah. Pep's never gone 2 seasons back. He's never gone back to back seasons without winning a league. So when he does not win the league, he normally goes and wins. So that's one thing to watch out for, Pep. In terms of Man City, I think they will be fine going forward. They've got options. I'm still wary of their defensive frailties. I don't think it's completely gone, if I'm being honest, from what I saw. Um, and looking at their signings, just quickly, Ait Nouri, I like the signing because he was one of my options if we couldn't get Kirkez. I think he's one of the better wing fullbacks. Um, Reinders, I don't know if you want to get your thoughts on Reinders. He's getting a lot of praise. I'm not as high on Reinders as other people. I think he's good. But it's a lot of money. I think they paid nearly 70 million, I think euros. Have you watched much of him or
Yeah, I can't say I've watched much of him. I've seen obviously comps and clips. He looks really good. Looks quite tidy. He looks like I think it's the thing we've spoken about in terms of refreshing. He's not a like for like for the older City
yeah,
midfielders, but I think he's something that Pep's using to tweak. And I think as the season goes on, we'll see whether that's worked or not. And if
yeah,
it does work, it'll look like a quality signing.
yeah,
Cherky looks good. I think what would worry me about City is I think Doku is starting to take a bit more of a bigger role in the team from what I've seen in
yeah,
preseason. He looks like he's gone
yeah,
up a
he looks
level
good.
this season. Um, I would worry about the rest of the team. Can Foden step it up again? Can the other attackers, I
Yeah,
know you spoke
yeah,
about Grealish going, but Savinho, these guys, if they don't raise it up a level, then
yeah.
Pep will go back to back seasons without a league.
Yeah, and I agree with the assessment of City. I still think they have got Marmoush there who looks good. Obviously had a good back end of last season. Haaland, we know Haaland's gonna score goals. So they've still got top players and Rodri's back. But I still feel like they maybe need a right back, and I want to see how again Foden's a big part. Can he get back to that form that he had 2 seasons ago now? Because if he doesn't, then there could be worries. And again with Shirky as well, um, I'm not again that signing. Obviously, he's cheap, around 30 million, so there's the upside there. But I'm interested to see how Shirky does as well because he's an interesting player. Similar, he's a bit of a maverick as well, and is Pep like we saw with Grealish. Is he going to coach it out of him, or is he even going to guarantee to start games? Because again, that's a whole other topic. I had a chat with in my group chat where I'm not sure he does start for Man City every game. But we'll probably do another stream on City. But yeah, we've just passed the hour, so we'll wrap it up soon. Raf says Xerxes will be starting striker for United even after Sesko joins. I'm calling it. Nah, I don't think so. But we'll see because obviously Hoyland is looking to leave, isn't he? So um, Xerxes might be the backup. I'm guessing. But United, I want to do not score predictions. I want to do Premier League predictions where we think they're going to finish. Um, quick spoiler: I've got Man United in my top 10, so you're gonna have to tune in for another stream to see my picks for where I think everyone's going to finish. So we'll do that on another stream. Um, yeah, I think that's pretty much wraps it all up in terms of stream. Anything else you want to touch on, or we missed out sort of?
Nah, I think we covered quite a bit. I think it's a sad day for me. I was expecting to come on stream doing all this again, but nah, it's
Yeah,
looking
no,
it's
look,
looking it's looking tough out there. I might
yeah,
I might have
look,
to start doing this with you.
Now, I did say with Gyökeres, I saw it with Nunez. When you buy a big striker, it's like everyone wants to you know, everyone's got, everyone's watching the pressure that comes with it. And I think there's a lot of pressure on Gyökeres because for me, he has to deliver straight away. And I don't know if he can because there's a lot of pressure on him because yeah, I just think he's basically been given the mantle. You're going to get Arsenal over the line, and yeah, I think they're big shoes. I don't know what you think. I
Yeah.
mean, we've discussed Gyökeres, but yeah, we will. I think we
We'll see
will
how it
speak a
goes.
lot about Gyökeres, and even Ekatike and these Isak when he joins, because yeah. Just one more comment, I think. What's this? Liked. Yeah, guy, I forgot to say, like the stream, please. If you're watching, if you're enjoying the content, if you don't want to smash a like for me, smash a like for Fahid. If you guys are enjoying the content, there's a lot more to come. We're only just getting started. There's gonna be a lot more sort of ideas. Saudis are just going to offer £1 million a week after tax to players and then loan them back to Newcastle with an option to buy. That doesn't violate FFP as I understand it. I don't think this can happen. I think there'll be red tape all over it as soon as you see, because it would have been done by now. When Newcastle had that PSR problem with last season, when we were close to getting Gordon, they ended up selling Yakuba Minta to Brighton and they sold Elliot Anderson to Forest. I think as soon as they sell a player like that, I think you'll see Premier League clubs complaining. But yeah, we didn't really discuss this PIF Nunez Isak situation because they're helping us fund Isak by taking Nunez off us essentially, which Newcastle fans are annoyed about. Why are they investing in why are they giving Liverpool money, for a player they don't need or want anymore, like sort of helping Liverpool out. So yeah, that's a whole nother geopolitical issue. So that's another topic we'll have to discuss with PIF and Saudi Pro League. Yeah, I think we're done. Thank you guys for watching. And yeah, we'll see you shortly. So just gonna end the stream.